What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another Tottenham update, guys. We haven't done one in a while, so we've got a few bits and pieces to get through transfer rumours already, seeing as it's only February, but they are coming out already. But the first thing that we're going to talk about is Spurs have announced their pre-season tour, and they are going back to South Korea for the first time for a while. The official announcement said that we are delighted to announce that the men's first team will travel to South Korea for a pre-season tour this July in preparation for the new season. Daniel Levy says a trip to Korea in particular is overdue. We are well aware of the incredible support we have out there, and Heung-min Son has said that I'm extremely excited to be returning home to South Korea this summer alongside my Tottenham Hotspur teammates.
Of course, Levy thinks it's overdue, obviously. Headline there.
So they are going to be playing 2 games out there in the space of a week, I imagine it is. No dates have been set or anything like that, but they are going back to South Korea in a pre-season tour. I don't think it was the last time we went there, but one of the last few times we went there, 2005, we actually came back with a trophy. Maybe we'll do the same.
If there's a chance to get a trophy, I bet it doesn't even matter if we win or lose, they have to give Son a trophy. Come on. Son ain't leaving there without some sort of trophy. No, look, whether it's good for Sonny, it's good for the team to go out there, I guess. I mean, I'm looking forward to it if when it comes around. I'm sure, like if any bids are coming for Son in that summer, they'll have to wait till after that tour. I can guarantee you that. It'll probably add like another 30 million at least to his price tag, just that pre-season tour. But it'll be good for Sonny, and yeah, not too much to say on it, but it's a good opportunity for him. But sure. Yeah, why not? Let's do it.
All right. So Spurs are back on pre-season tour, going to South Korea, because obviously before this season they didn't go on a tour because of COVID and everything. But let's move on. Let's talk about Ollie Skipp now. Sammy Mockbell says that there are concerns at Tottenham as midfielder Ollie Skipp has suffered a delay in his return from a thigh injury, and his return date is now uncertain, which is really not good news at all. We've all seen how we're missing Ollie Skipp in the middle of the park desperately in the last couple of games, and now we don't even know when he's coming back.
Yeah, it's bad news because Conte originally said 10 days maximum. And now they're saying that there's concern it could go on. So it sounds like he's not going to be available this weekend, which he definitely could have been useful for us. So I think he's been playing really well for us this season. I think he adds a bit more like a bit like Bentancur, a bit of calmness in the centre. Doesn't have like that like Højbjerg, where can be all over the place when he's pressed. I think Skipp's a lot more press resistant, so he's definitely a big miss, and he has that passion as well since breaking into the team. So I hope he gets back soon rather than later, and hopefully he's wrong. I hope that he is back soon instead of being delayed. But it's a massive blow, and it all keeps happening. Like Dyer happened to him as well. They said it was a minor thing, and he got delayed, and now it's happening with Skipp.
Son as well.
Son. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's like similar to Mourinho last year. A few times he would say it's minor, and then they'll be out for ages. It seems the same happened with Conte.
Yeah, it's very annoying, but I guess we'll just have to wait for more news to break on that one. When we know, we'll obviously bring it to you. Let's move on, because there's some better news on Eric Dyer. Sammy Mockbell as well saying that Eric Dyer is back training on the grass, and there is hope that he can rejoin first team full training by the end of the week and be back in the frame to face Manchester City this weekend.
And we're definitely going to need him, because City, how they attack, they've got moving parts all the time. They like to drag people out of position. We know how they're going to play, and we need leadership in there if we're going to get anything out of this game. We need players knowing their roles, not being all over the place, marking their men properly. And we need Dyer for that. Unfortunately, it's come to that. So very good news. He's in first team training, and I can't wait for him, because we haven't had him and Romero together yet, have we? So looking forward to them. I think we've had them in a few games under Nuno potentially. But yeah,
not very many. Literally, you can count them on one hand if they have played together. But that's that on Eric Dyer. Some more positive news there. Let's talk about Harry Kane now, because Jason Burt of The Telegraph, the man that literally is dying for Harry Kane to move to Manchester United. Every day he brings out a new story on how Harry Kane is moving to Man United. And this time he says, If Pochettino becomes Manchester United manager, then a move for Harry Kane is expected. Sources close to Kane have indicated in the past that he would want to work again with Maurizio Pochettino.
It's a bit of a weird obsession this guy has with the Kane. To move. Every time we lose, he's like, oh, it's time for Kane to move on. It's time for Kane to go. Yeah. Look what Tottenham are holding him back. And it's a bit strange, but I'm sure United would be interested in him. Of course they would. Why wouldn't they? But whether they can get him, I think a lot depends about how the season goes. If we are not in Champions League football, then obviously the chances of him leaving increase drastically.
Yeah, but look at this story. He's talking about a manager who's managing another club signing a player who's also playing for another club.
Yeah, so there's so many moving parts. Nonsense. Yeah, and if Poch wins the Champions League, who knows? Maybe he'll stay. So like there's nothing to it at the moment. He says Pochettino will want Kane if he joins United. Yeah, cool. I'm sure he would.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean anything. Like I'm sure. A lot of people want Kane.
Exactly. So, and if my auntie had bollocks, she'd be my uncle.
Exactly. I mean? So what does that even mean right now? Nothing.
Yeah, doesn't mean anything. And also Pochettino last night saying it's taken a year, it's taken a year at Spurs to get my ideas across. Is he really going to walk out the door just as he's getting his ideas across? Depends
if they do win. It depends how things go. If it falls apart and they put the blame on him, then he could walk. But if he carries on like yesterday against Madrid, they were brilliant. I thought they only won 1-0, but they were all over them. They were much the better team. They deserved the win, I know it was only in stoppage time. They much deserved the win, and a lot of it was actually down to Pochettino's tactics. So if they carry on like that, hopefully he can have a good end to the season because he's been under a lot of pressure so far. And maybe unjust because they're doing all right.
Yeah, I mean, everyone goes back to how they didn't win the league last season and stuff like that, which, can play into the narrative of the whole Spursiness of Pochettino and what he didn't do at Spurs. But I think when you're looking at the job he's done as a whole, he's won a domestic trophy or two. He's doing really well in the league this season. It doesn't look like anyone's going to catch him this season. And obviously he's putting in performances like that in the Champions League.
Yeah, they beat Man City in the group stages as well. Like, they've put in some good games. And I've never seen a manager come under such criticism for winning games but not winning them as convincingly as he should. Yeah. It's like if he doesn't win every single game, it's like, oh, they want him out there.
Yeah,
that's how it is in the French league.
Yeah, it is. But their squad compared to anyone else in that league is like miles better.
Yeah, but you drop the points here and there. It happens. Yeah. And they're still 15 points clear or something stupid. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. And another one with a lot of moving parts. This one from Fabrizio Romano. He says, depending on whether Antonio Conte remains and which European competition they qualify for, Tottenham are expected to make many changes to their squad this summer. Another ridiculous update, to be honest, because it means nothing, because it's saying depending on if Antonio Conte stays and depending on which European competition we qualify for.
Yeah, so is he saying if Conte leaves and we're in the Conference League, there won't be any change? Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, that's what he's saying, yeah.
Kind of, which is what a lot of fans were frustrated about because they knew that would be the situation. So they're frustrated in the sense that maybe if that is the situation, you have to do more in January to make sure we do get that top four, because this summer that people keep banging on about, this massive summer we're going to have at the end of the season. So it's dependent on Tottenham having a good season this season. So there's no point saying, for me, it doesn't make sense to me to say, well, we're not going to do as much in January because we're having a big summer, but then only have a big summer if we have a good end to the season. That doesn't kind of make that doesn't make sense.
We're stuck in a never-ending loop.
Logically, that doesn't make any sense. So if you're doing that, you might as well say, okay, spend a bit more and push the bar out a bit more in January to make sure we get top four. Otherwise, if we're not going to get top four, this whole thing, it doesn't mean anything then.
Yeah, then it all falls apart.
Exactly. So I don't understand that way of thinking when people say, it's fine, we didn't get what we want in January because we'll have a big summer, but it doesn't work out like that.
Only time will tell. Only time will tell. But yeah, I mean, it's just a nonsense, really. But anyway, let's move on. Fabrizio Romano talking about targets again, and he's talking about Sven Botman this time. He says Tottenham will 100% sign a centre-back in the summer. They are following Sven Botman. So he's saying we're 100% signing a centre-back. So regardless of
depending on what European competition, when it depends on the level of the centre-back, that's what you failed to mention.
But one sec, and then Tuto Mercato followed up and says that Tottenham are in the picture to sign Lille centre-back Sven Botman. The club want to sign an international defender for Antonio Conte.
Yeah, I think Botman would be a good choice. I think there are better options than Botman, to be honest, but I do think he's a good defender, and I do think he's a good choice, and he definitely is an upgrade on what we have and would improve our defence. The only thing I would worry about him is he's a bit slow. I think positionally he's great. He's actually quite comfortable on the ball and he's left-footed, so he slots in right where Davis is, and it's not like Davis is quick, so I can't really complain about pace, but I'm sure there will be moments where he gets caught out with his pace, and that will frustrate people. But I think by and large, it will definitely be an upgrade on what we have, so that'll be good. And he's physically more imposing as well, so I think he would be a good signing. But would he be like the perfect signing? I wouldn't say perfect signing, but I think it would be a good signing.
How happy would you be of a back three of Botman, Dyer, Romero going into next season?
I would say that it's a good back line, but it's not, definitely doesn't put us in a title picture, and I think it can probably put us in the top 4 picture, but again, it's like then you're still battling for it with that back three. I don't think you put yourselves as outright favourites with that back three.
I think it can. Well, it can firmly put us in the top 4 if we get the right wing back in, a good right wing back in.
Yeah, a lot obviously depends on the rest of the team, but yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I think when you look at that back three, like you look at Chelsea's back three or City's defenders or Liverpool's defenders.
Got to remember that Rudiger and Christensen are probably leaving Chelsea by the end of the season. No contract talks there.
Yeah, but they'll sign someone for 50 million or something. You know what I mean?
Probably.
They'll upgrade. Or I don't know if they'll upgrade, but they'll get their all place. So whether does Botman, Dyer, Romero tell me that it's an upgrade, but whether it's enough of an upgrade to make a significant difference, I'm not 100% sure. I think it would make a difference. I think it would improve us, but not massively.
Well, I think Botman is a massive upgrade on Davis. I do believe that. Dyer, he's proved this season that he's good, but we've seen he can fall off the wagon many times. Romero, we've seen is a top player. So I think that we actually need 2. I think we need one to challenge Dyer or to upgrade on Dyer and Botman.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what we need. And talking of the right wing-back positions, Charlie Eccleshare says that DJ Spence is a possible target this summer. Spurs are expected to try and solve the right wing-back position. And I, for one, I've seen him a couple games this season, both in the FA Cup, and I think he's been absolutely brilliant. Haven't seen him much apart from that, but from what I have seen him, he looks really good, doesn't he?
Yeah, it looks great. But again, I know he has played obviously against Premier League opposition, so fair play. And I don't know how he is on a weekly basis in the Championship, but I wouldn't want to sign him as our first choice. I just wouldn't, because there's too much pressure on a young player stepping up from that kind of level and saying. And it's fine if we're a mid-table side, we could probably make him our first choice and allow him to bed in and make mistakes and then give him a chance to claim that spot. But where we are now, like if I want to sign him as our number 2 right back, fine, but I don't want to sign him as our number 1 right back.
Well, I mean, you can look at someone like Andy Robertson as well, who came from Hull.
He was in the Premier League though.
Yeah, he had one season in the Premier League,
and he was great. I thought it was brilliant.
DJ Spence, look, he's young and he's a top talent coming out of the Championship, and you've seen how players like Ollie Skipp, who didn't have much game time in the Premier League before, and then he had a massive season at Norwich and came to Spurs, and he's fitted in right like a glove this season.
He's been good. No, he's been good, but we're more forgiving of him because he's an academy product. I do think he's been great, no doubt about it.
We're missing him massively.
Is he? I think he's good. I wouldn't say we're missing him particularly massively.
Do you not think so?
No.
Wow, I really think we are with that steal in the middle, and
I don't think it would be
calmness in the middle as well.
I think with Højbjerg, Winks, and Bentancur, I don't think it skips the reason why we've been losing recently.
Yeah, but Højbjerg's put in disaster classes recently, and so has Winks.
Yeah, he has.
And Skipp really hasn't put on performance anywhere near as bad as that this season.
Yeah, but Skipp's good. I'm not trying to say Skipp's bad. He's had a great season at Norwich. He's come in, he's done well, but I wouldn't want if I was scouting, would I sign Skipp to be a starting team challenging for a league title or Champions League? I don't know if I would right now. I think don't get me wrong, I think for his age, I think he's doing great, and because he's an academy product, I for sure love him, and I think he's going to grow into a really good midfielder. But I wouldn't necessarily, if I'm Chelsea or Liverpool or United, do I think I sign Skipp now and he's an upgrade on what we have, and he definitely starts? No, I don't. So So same with like Spence. I'm sure he can be a good right back. And again, I would sign him, but I would want a right back, or first choice right back as well.
All right, let's move on. Last story of the update, and we're talking about Gareth Bale once again. And Fabrizio Romano says Real Madrid manager Carlo Ancelotti has confirmed that Gareth Bale will leave the club in June. But Sami Mokbel says that Tottenham are not pursuing a deal to sign Gareth Bale for the third time. Obviously, this follows on rumours from a couple of days ago where it said some publications were coming out and saying that it's already done deal, basically. That
pre-agreement, right, well, rubbish.
Bale's coming back to Spurs. But Sami Mokbel says it's not happening. And Ali Gold also says that various people within Tottenham have shut down Bale to Tottenham stories from Spain pretty quickly, saying there's absolutely no truth in it whatsoever.
Well, interestingly enough, Bale came off the bench yesterday in the Champions League for Madrid and played up front. And I think Ancelotti's been looking at him a lot more as a striker.
I'm pretty sure he started up front in the league last weekend as well.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I don't know if he's playing well at all, but he seems definitely a bit back in the picture a bit more under Ancelotti than he was under Zidane. Would I take Bale as a backup striker next season? Probably, but is he? But with the wages he would come on, it depends all on him. If it's a package that Tottenham are happy with, then I wouldn't mind him back for sure, as another forward option. But if it's going to prevent us going for other targets, then yeah, I wouldn't waste my time. But I still think he's got quality.
He showed that at us last season.
Yeah, I still think he's still got ability and quality, but it's all about himself, whether he's motivated, whether he would like have that motivation about him to like fight on the pitch.
Well, you know what he does have motivation for is to get himself fit for the World Cup that's happening at the mid-season next year.
Yeah, so maybe that would be something. Look, I wouldn't say no to him because I think he's still got quality. Whether Conte wants him, and it's whether about Bale as well. I wouldn't want him back here, and him not thinking it's just the end of his career and he's not taking it seriously and doesn't really care. Like he has to care about being in the
like
team.
That at times when he was at us last season, but actually for the most part when he played, he was pretty good by and large, apart from a couple of games.
And I also think if you put him in a 3-5-2 up front, I reckon he could do pretty well in that role. I think he could do. I think he could do the job. Also, one of the number 10 positions. I think he could fit, but it's whether off the ball he does his role.
That's always been.
Always the thing. But I wouldn't. Yeah, if it's a package that works for Tottenham, I wouldn't say no. But I still think it's unlikely because I think he's old. He's 33 now. Whether Tottenham think it's I know we got him on loan, but would we sign someone permanently? Like, we very rarely sign players of that age permanently. So we're trying to reduce the average age of the squad, aren't we? So whether we go for him is unlikely. We
shall see. But look, Ali Gold and
would you want him?
And Sami Mokbel have completely poured cold water on it. Would I want him? Yeah, I think I would want him as a kind of squad player. I obviously wouldn't want to bring him in and start him every game. He showed last year when he was at us, maybe sometimes when he did play the big games, he wasn't really up to it. But when he played the kind of bottom half teams, he was brilliant, scoring goals for fun. He scored 11 goals at us last season. In the game time that he had, I thought that was brilliant return. I really did. So I think I would take him back if he wasn't bring him in as an option to the squad, like you say, as a backup striker or a backup number 10. But Ali Gold and Sami Mokbel both pouring cold water on it, so I don't really see it happening. But I guess we'll have to see if any other news breaks over the next couple of months. But in terms of the Tottenham update, that is all we have for you today. I want to know your opinions on what we have, of what we brought you in the comments section below. Thanks everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.